guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I wanted to share with you an updated Linzer cookie recipe because I think it's not only perfect for any time of the year, but they're really perfect for this time of year and like baking and gift giving and cookies. These are my dad's like favorite cookie that I make, so I wanted to share it with you because it is a little bit updated and different than my old one that's been on for like years and years and years. So let me run you through what I've got going on. In a small skillet, I was toasting up some pecans. You can see they're nice and toasty and golden and delicious, and they smell really fragrant. You can do this in the oven too, but I just find it easier to just do it on a dry skillet. I like adding pecans to my dough. You can use, traditionally you use like an almond or like a hazelnut, which all of those work. I like a pecan. It gives you a little bit of like a pecan sandy like touch, and just, those are like one of my favorite cookies too. So I think the mixture of everything together is just, so I'm gonna use those. But before we get to that, I've got my standing mixer with a paddle attachment. I'm gonna add some butter. You wanna make sure it's really soft at room temperature. Mine was just sitting, well, the oven was preheating earlier. To that, we're gonna add some sugar. Very basic things you probably already have on hand for the season, but they're fantastic. And I like to add a little bit of vanilla bean paste. Now, if I'm gonna use almonds, I also like to use a grating of lemon zest. So fantastic and fragrant, but if I'm using pecans, then I don't. I go a little bit heavier on the vanilla by using the vanilla bean paste rather than vanilla extract. So that's just what I'm fancying. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna just cream this together for a couple minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to take my pecans and I'm going to just pulverize them in a mini food processor. So I'm gonna work on both and then I'll show you the next step. Add in the egg and let that go for a couple minutes too. It's really important that you allow this mixture to get, to mix quite a bit because it'll end up in the most beautiful, flaky, amazing cookie at the end. Now we add flour, salt, slow down, and our grounded up pecans, which smells so good when you toast them. It's unreal. And then once it comes together, I'll show you what you're looking for. Gorgeous. So the dough is pretty sticky at this point, but really try to make sure that you fight the urge to use any excess flour because you don't need it. It's going to work out perfectly in the end. I'm just taking my dough out of my mixer here, which, how rude that it was right in front of you. And I'm just trying to like pull it together into like a nice disc. And I'm just gonna wrap this baby in some plastic wrap. Much easier to just dump it directly on the plastic wrap, by the way. And I'm gonna pop this into the fridge for a couple hours or so, or until it cools enough, it sets enough that you can roll it out. So I'm gonna do that. Feels like a nice soft baby's bottom. And then we'll proceed. I'm not crazy. I know that I'm crumbling some parchment paper, and that's because this is quite a crumbly dough. You want it to be. That's what makes these so lovely. So I find it much easier once your dough rests for a couple hours in the fridge. Hold on. Loud. Once it rests for a couple hours in the fridge, let it come to room temperature for about 15 minutes. Divide the dough into 2 pieces, and then just start rolling out each piece in some parchment or some wax paper. I find this to be a much easier way than to fight with crumbling dough all over your counter. Actually, just use my rolling pin to just press it out. That is perfect. And I'm just going to use like a round cookie cutter. I'll show you a cool little tip. Remember, you're going to need a top and a bottom, so you're going to need 2 for each cookie, if that makes sense. And to the top, we'll do a couple of those, and then we'll do some snowflakes. What do you think? 'Tis the season, 2, I need one more. Yep, I need one more. And we'll do some stars. To the top, we want to make sure that that jam peeks through. So you just take, this is piping tip. I'll just take one and just do a little, cut that out, and then when we go to put on the baking sheet, then I will take that out. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop these into the oven at 350 for 8 to 10 minutes or until the bottom is a lightly golden brown. I'm gonna go ahead and make a few more. I'm gonna take this other half and I'm gonna pop it in the freezer so that I've got cookie dough ready for all my holiday baking, which is another great thing about this is that it keeps really well. So I'm gonna pop this in. I'll show you what they look like when they're done. These babies were in the oven for right around 9 minutes. You can see the edges were golden brown. That's what you want. I'm letting them cool here on a wire rack. My second batch just came out. I'm gonna let those cool and dress those up later, but these are really simple. You're basically making little sandwiches, right? I know yours are gonna be so much prettier. I'm not offended, it's fine. Listen, we all have our weaknesses and we all have our strengths. Making cute things is not a strength of mine. Delicious, yes, I can get to that, but cute, no. You take a little bit of jam, right? This is a little, like it's seedless raspberry jam. You want to warm it up a little bit in the microwave. I like to use the back of a tiny little teaspoon because I just find that to be easier to work with, but you know, whatever. And then you just take that on top like so. Okay? And then once you dust it with some snowy powdered sugar, they look magic and perfect and beautiful and everybody loves them and my dad loves them and I cannot wait to make these for him because you know what's great thing about my dad? It's really a great thing about everybody is that when you give them food that they love, you don't gotta worry about whether it fits. You don't gotta worry about whether you get it on sale. It is so much more meaningful. I'll go through the trouble of making cute little shapes for him because I love him, but at least he's getting something that he truly enjoys. And he's gonna share. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, I don't know. He's not that much of a sharer. And that's it. Now, I wanted to give you another tip, by the way, before I continue, because I wanna set you up for success. When you're lifting the cookie off of the parchment paper after you cut them, you do not wanna lift them with your hands. You wanna pretend this is a raw dough, okay? You wanna use a flat spatula like this, and you wanna go on the side, and you just kinda do one of these, and you put that cookie dough on your baking sheet because they're very crumbly. Very much like my graham crackers. They're crumbly, but that's what makes them so delicious. Speaking of delicious, magnificent. You will love them. Everybody will love them. LauraInTheKitchen.com has a recipe. They're the best. And you're gonna love them. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah.